So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Beyond the Clicks, the metrics that actually matter in your digital advertising. I'm Robin Thompson, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. We're really excited to have you join us today, and there's quite a few of you. We've got some great information to share. In case you're not familiar, Rieger Marketing Communications is a Binghamton, New York-based full-service ad agency and marketing agency serving a variety of regional and national clients in many different sectors, including education, financial, healthcare, nonprofit, automotive, B2B, and tourism industries, just to name a few. Before we get started, there's just a few things that we'd like to go over, housekeeping items. You're going to be hearing a lot of great information today, and we know that just about as it is with anything, you're going to have a lot of questions. So we'd like to be able to answer those during the webinar. The audio and video feed is reserved for presenters only, but we do want to communicate with you. So if you see at the top of the page, you're going to see that there's a Q&A button up there. You're able to click on that Q&A box and you can submit a question at any time during the presentation, and we will strive to answer all those at the end. In addition, we're also going to have a recording of the webinar, and the deck will also be available to you in a follow-up email. Okay, so let's get started now with today's speakers. First, you're going to be hearing from Kate Burke-Zindel, Account Media Manager at Rieger Marketing Communications. Kate brings a wealth of experience in financial services, long-term care, and the nonprofit space. Over the years, Kate has also been a client of Rieger's while working in the banking industry, which is really cool. She also serves on boards and committees with several service organizations throughout the Southern Tier area. Also today is Jamie Jacobs of Rieger. Jamie started her career as a Rieger intern 17 years ago, and she's actually now one of the firm's managing partners. A copywriter and project manager at heart herself, she loves co-leading a stellar team of writers and designers, media buyers, production coordinators, as well as fundraising and PR professionals. You'll also hear today from Lizzie Martin, account manager at Advanced Media New York. In her role, Lizzie focuses on client management, and she really helps strengthen Rieger's media department. So to get us started today, I'd like to introduce Lizzie Martin from Advanced Media New York. Lizzie will be talking about establishing analytics goals and the different things that you can do to help measure metrics. So Lizzie?
Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us today. As Robin said, I'm an account manager, so that means I spend a lot of time looking at digital marketing campaigns, performance, and trying to identify ways that we can optimize them and ensure that you're getting a return on your investment. Sometimes that's really easy to determine. Certain types of digital marketing solutions are very easy to connect the dots. Something like paid search, when people are really ready to take action, they're much further down in the decision-making process. They are going to be clicking on your ad, going to your website, converting, sometimes even clicking to call. So those are really great metrics that tell us we're ringing the cash register. Other types of digital marketing, it can be a little harder to discern how they're performing and you really see the big picture. And primarily that happens with awareness type campaigns. So things like display campaigns or even video campaigns, where the key metric really is the visibility of the ad. Are people seeing the ads? Are people watching the videos? But those particular behaviors don't ring the cash register. So what can we look at beyond just the visibility? And in this case today, what I'm going to show you is even beyond just the clicks if people are clicking on those awareness ads. And I'm going to give you two ways that we can really truly understand how an awareness campaign is influencing our target audience. The first tool we want to use are pixels. Pixels are a piece of code that goes in your website on the back end, not at all visible to people when they visit your site. And they're the connection between your website and the ad platform. The ad platform is the system that distributes your ads for your campaign. You may be familiar with them because you use them with Facebook. You might be doing retargeting or remessaging from your website that uses a pixel. Today, we're specifically talking about two types of conversion tracking pixels. That's the view-through conversion and the post-click conversion. A view-through conversion is when someone sees one of your display or video ads, does not click on it, but comes to your website another way. They could look you up through a search or maybe know your URL just because, or it was in your ad and they type it in. We've probably all done this at least once or twice, or not all the time if you're not someone who clicks on ads. You see something, it's of interest to you, so you open a new tab and you look it up really quick. That is a view through conversion. And a post click conversion is when someone does click on your ad to go to your website or landing page, and then they come back again later. A lot of times, I think we've all experienced that online advertising, it's intrusive. It's interrupting a video you're trying to watch, or popping up on a page that you're reading, or in your news feed while you're scrolling. And you're maybe busy doing that activity. You don't want to take time away, or you don't have time to research a new product or physician or job opening. So you come back again later, though, if you're very interested. It'll plant that seed that encourages you to look that business or organization up again. So a post-click conversion is a pretty high value visit to your site. It's someone who's coming back again. So these pixels can track this additional information because both of these types of conversions were influenced by your awareness campaign. Wanted to show you what this looks like in a reporting setting. Here's an example of a report for display impressions. We've got about 187,000 ads delivered. And you can see on the left, our primary metrics are those visibility metrics. How visible were the ads and how did people interact with them? Then on the right, we have our secondary metrics, the clicks and the conversions that we're talking about today. So the click-through rate on this is a 0.12%. That's pretty average for the average display campaign that's running on all devices. Then you could add in with this additional information from your pixels, you had 91 more visits to your website from people who didn't click on an ad, those view through conversions, and 46 more visits to your site from people who came back a second time. So those are those really high value, high quality visits to your site. And when you add those all up, you really get more of an engagement rate of 0.19%. That's a really strong metric to have and a much better picture of the true impact of your awareness campaign. There is no way for you to figure out the view throughs or post clicks just from, say, your Google Analytics. Because people who come in after seeing an ad or after clicking on your ad, they're going to come back any number of ways. They could go directly to your website by typing in your URL. Like I said, they could search you, they could click on your social pages to link to your website. So you can't pull this information out any other way. You really need to utilize these pixels. But our second tool today does involve your Google Analytics, and that's to utilize goals in analytics. Not everybody takes the time to set these, but they can provide some really valuable insights for you when it comes to assessing your awareness campaigns. Goals are set up to track specific behaviors on your site, what we would call a conversion on your site. That can be very specific to a campaign or to your business. It could include having people visit a particular page of your site, maybe your job listings or directions to your store. It could be that they fill out a form on your site to apply for something or request information. It could even be how much time they spend on your site. So the longer somebody spends on your site, the more engaged they probably are with your brand and with your company. And you can set a threshold of 1, 2, 3 minutes, whatever time you think signals to you a strong engagement. And then you'll be able to have this quick snapshot of how many people spent that much time on your site by setting that goal. And the goals are also going to be tied to how people came into your site. Yeah, that's the main thing we get out of our analytics, right? Is where are people coming from when they come to your site? Is it through organic search? Is it direct? Is it through paid channels like display or paid search? Is it your social media, your email newsletter? whatever that looks like, you'll also be able to tie in how many of those people are converting once on your site. So to bring this back to measuring your awareness campaign, again, those high-level awareness tools, people aren't quite ready to make a decision. Depending on your conversion point, they're very unlikely to convert right directly from a click on an ad. You'll typically see in your analytics a display campaign visit where someone clicks on a display ad or a video ad. They spend very little time on site. It's when they come back or they come directly on their own where they're going to be more likely to engage in a way that it resembles a conversion or a serious visit. So that's why we wanted to see those other metrics that I just showed you, and you'll want to look at your goals overall for a lift in conversions. So maybe you're not doing awareness right now and you add it in. You'll want to watch for trends in your analytics that show more conversions from before you were doing awareness campaigns to now. And then you'll also want to, if you make any changes to your awareness campaigns, making the campaign bigger or smaller, changing up your call to action, that's another place where you can measure how that is impacting overall response. So we've got a couple new tools. Hopefully there's something you're utilizing or you're willing to implement at this point because they really do provide a lot of good insights for you. Those view through and post-click pixels are very easy to implement, and setting up goals in analytics is also very easy. You just have to be thoughtful about what ones make the most sense for your business or your campaign. And both are free to use. There's no added cost when you're utilizing those. You just have to be able to collaborate with whoever manages your website to place the pixels and make sure you have a trusted source for analyzing your analytics to help you with those goals, and then understanding what the results, what the data is showing you as you start to track more conversions on site. So I hope that was helpful for you, and I'm going to pass the baton back to Robin.
Great. Thank you so much, Lizzie. That was terrific. A lot of great, always free tools are terrific to hear about, and just how that can really help your campaigns. So next, we're going to go forward here, and Kate is going to join us and talk a little bit more about some big changes with Google Analytics. So Kate, I think this is something that you're all going to want to hear about, and it's pretty exciting. And just remember the date. Kate, why don't you take it away?
Excuse me. Thanks, Robin. Hello, everyone. Thanks again for joining us today. I'm going to talk about everyone's favorite topic, Google Analytics, or rather how Google Analytics is changing. Now, I know change can be scary. Many people try to avoid it, but this change in Google Analytics, it's not scary, it's exciting. Let's take a step back, take it from the top. What is Google Analytics? Google Analytics is a platform that collects data from websites and apps to create reports that provide insights into your business. It also allows you to analyze data all in one place so you can make informed, data-driven decisions. Google Analytics is free, though there is a paid version. So, what's happening with Google Analytics? The current platform that we've all been using for so long and have grown to love, or not, is called Universal Analytics, also known just as Google Analytics or GA. This platform is retiring July 1st, 2023. Again, it is retiring July 1st, 2023. So we'll all be saying goodbye to Universal Analytics, whether we want to or not, and welcoming in the next generation of Google Analytics, GA4. You might be thinking, if Google Analytics can do all these great things, it's the most common web analytic platform there is, why is it changing? Well, It's to be an improvement upon the current platform and is also a reaction to privacy changes, including the crumbling of the cookies. GA4 was designed to offer deeper insights from website and mobile app interactions, which Google now calls events. GA4 will also accommodate a world where more and more people are opting out of cookies. And cookies are small files of data that help track and monitor one's online activity. So then what's GA4? The Digital Marketing Institute defines Google Analytics 4, or GA4, as the latest iteration of Google Analytics, and it was launched in October of 2020. But unlike previous versions like Classic Analytics in 2005 and Universal Analytics in 2012, GA4 is not built to measure website visits or sessions. Rather, it is built to measure websites and mobile app interactions known as events. Exciting. With event tracking, you get more flexibility. Events allow you to measure interactions on your website or app. You can measure when someone downloads a page, clicks a link, or makes a purchase. The overall reporting in GA4 and the data is more robust, and the data collected is collected across platforms, allowing for better insights on your customers, all in one place. So what's different? A lot is different. Sessions are different. Views are no more. You now have a data stream that includes data from your website and your apps. And check this out. You will get a personalized homepage. GA4 will learn what you want to know about, what you monitor, and over time, these data will be on your homepage, like your preferences. Pretty cool, right? As an example, if you are wanting to know what your top pages are, or if you have an e-commerce app and want to know revenue, as you continue to pull these data, they will find its way to your homepage. GA4 will also take note of trends happening on your site and pop that data on your homepage too. Again, pretty cool. Also different, Universal Analytics needs cookies. GA4 does not. You can also see live data, including what city the viewer is from. GA4's framework is quite different than Universal Analytics, so you'll want to become familiar with it now. It is recommended to install GA4 and run it in tandem with Universal Analytics. It'll help you to learn the platform while giving you continued access to your Universal Analytics. You'll also begin to be able to start building historical data for future comparisons and valuable insights. While there are pros and cons with the GA4, we all need to hop on this train, and the sooner, the better. Do I need to do this now? It's not happening right away. Yes, you need to do it now. If you haven't set up your GA4 property, do it now, because if you don't, Universal Analytics will pack up your data and take it with her when she goes. You and your data are not part of her retirement plan. So how do I start? For all you Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings fans out there, there is a wizard in your analytics platform. You may also need help from your web developer too, to add the track code to your website. Why exactly now? Once you set up your GA4 property, it will begin tracking data from that date forward. The current platform will not track data at all as of July 1st, 2023. The GA4 setup wizard does not backfill your new property with historical data. The new property only collects data moving forward. you would have to use reports in your current Universal Analytics property to get historical data. But please note, adding GA4 does not change anything to your current setup. However, there can still be changes in GA4. Also of note, if you recently started a brand new website with a new URL, you will already be on GA4. So just to reiterate, Universal Analytics will no longer be able to track data from July 2023, and historical reports and data will be removed. You cannot merge historical data from Universal Analytics to GA4. So, to prep, here's your to-do list. Set up GA4 now to ensure you have historical data and to acquaint yourself with GA4. Run GA4 in Universal Analytics in tandem. Transfer your current goals to events and do it now. And GA4 only begins tracking data, again, from when you first set it up. You will only have historical data from the date of setup forward. So give yourself some time to learn GA4, for it to start collecting data, and so you won't be panicking July 1st, 2023. Thank you, Robin.
That's really great, Kate. Especially since it has snowed quite a bit in the last couple of days, or at least that little bit, and you're thinking, oh, July 1st isn't that far away. It's just a little over 7 months. So it is relatively close. Okay, thank you. So next, Jamie's going to join us, and we've spent some time talking about one big digital giant, and that was Google. And we're going to spend a little time now. Jamie's going to talk to us about another big digital giant, which it is not Amazon, who has been flooding my mailbox with all kinds of early Black Friday deals right now. But the other digital giant Jamie's going to really kind of get us into is talking about Meta. So let's have Jamie come up here and tell us a little bit about some cool stuff that we would like to hear and shine a light on that. Thank you so much. Take it away, Jamie.
All right, thanks, Robin. And hello, everyone. Hope you're enjoying your lunch. And from the team at Rieger, I just wanted to echo my thanks to all of you for choosing to spend some time with us today. When we came up with this idea for the webinar, we weren't sure if anyone was going to show up. And here we are with such a great turnout. So thank you again. So as Robin said, in my time with you, I'm going to be talking about our friend, or perhaps our enemy, depending on the day. And that is, of course, Miss Meta. If you're like most digital marketers, like myself, you feel like you cannot live with her, but you cannot live without her either. So we're going to talk through what we all need to know about Meta's restrictions on our advertising strategies, and also a few tips on how to circumvent them when it's possible. Okay, so many of you know Facebook and Instagram are under that umbrella organization of Meta, and they continue to add more and more restrictions as time goes on. In addition to some of the obvious kind of quote unquote bad things that Facebook has always flagged, things like profanity or political nonsense or promoting illegal products. Now there are some things that may not feel all that bad when you're writing them or when you're showing them or when you're targeting them, but they will still get your account flagged, or at least that particular ad campaign flagged, if you don't follow Meta's rules. And of course, we want to play nice with Meta as best we can. So I'm going to just kind of show a few different categories of restrictions and spend a few minutes on each one. So the first is copy. And Meta doesn't like anyone using post copy to indicate personal characteristics about their target audience. So you now cannot include implications that you know the ad viewers say age, gender, race, disability, religion, or family status. And we find the best way to avoid problems with this restriction is just to avoid referring to any specific group at all in your post copy. So to give examples, words like Christians, teens, seniors, single people, you get the idea here. Meta says, nope, nope, nope. You can't use those words in your ad copy. And just to clarify, all these restrictions, it is only for ads, paid ads. They're not going to come and get you if you put some of these words in your, say, organic posts. Another tip to leave out words like other or the phrase like you, as this can sometimes imply you know they're part of that certain group. So for instance, you wouldn't be able to say things like support other Hispanic business owners like you, or active seniors like you love these apartments in this great community, because you're implying that you know they're Hispanic or you know that they are senior. And even if you don't break any post writing rules per se, just using words like what you see here may also get you flagged. Interestingly enough, the word Facebook, the word Instagram will get you flagged because they're very picky about their brand, which I respect. And they do not want their brand associated with your brand in an ad. Also, words like pandemic, corona, everybody saw how there was a lot of posts, some good, some very bad about that topic over the last few years. So now even just the mention of it gets you flagged. And then the words depression, anxiety, weight loss, anti-aging, these all have potential associations with some shady characters on the internet that Meta's just trying to keep off their platform and keep people from being put in more harm. So we want to stay away from any of those words. So next, Meta also restricts some images that you may choose to put in your ads. So we'll talk through a few things to be careful of there. The first one is to make sure that your image isn't too close up. I'm tempted to do this. And you also need to make sure to not have before and after photos in there. An example of this is, like I show here, a dermatology group wants to show, the before shot of someone with a skin issue and the after shot once that person has their product. And in general, Meta would flag that. We think because Meta doesn't want people's Facebook and Instagram experience feeling like an infomercial. But regardless of the rule, in this case, we would just recommend showing a medium zoom on a happy person with clear skin instead. And that would do a better job getting engagement. Also on image restrictions, this is one I actually totally agree with. Meta says no misleading graphics. So just to give a couple examples here, that play button that makes it seem like if you click on the ad, a video will play, but it actually goes to your website instead. That's very misleading. Facebook would kick that back. Also, you cannot use anything that looks like that little circle with the X, because of course that would indicate that someone could close the ad by clicking on it. But of course, they're not going to close the ad. They're going to go to the website instead. So those would also get flagged. A bit of good news, though, in the mix in terms of image restrictions. Meta is no longer actively enforcing its 80-20 image to text rule. And that's the one that stated you have to have less than 20% text in any ad graphic. And I know all the designers I work with, they were so annoyed by this rule and we're happy to see it go. That said, we would still argue the best practice is to have the graphic be as visual as possible. So we give a few examples here of ones we've done for our financial clients. And you can see we're just including the logo and a nice engaging photo, and we're leaving the copy to the post instead of bogging down the visual with it. And we'd recommend that. Next, we have restrictions on the links that take people from your Facebook or Instagram ad to your website. Meta has some rules about that too. If your website, if the website your ad clicks to redirects no good. If it goes to a site that has a pop-up ad, you see those when you get to the site and something else pops up, that looks to Meta like you're redirecting them and that it's not, not a trustworthy site after all. It also restricts links that are slowly loading because, you know, it wants its user experience to be better than that. And again, I agree that it should be. Another thing to think about with links is you shouldn't link to pages from your ads if they don't match the design and the look and the message of that ad. And, you know, it's sometimes easy to do. I know a lot of our clients, you know, have ad agencies like ours making ads. And this is one recently we just made for our client, Lefso, who serves the New York City homeless. We love them. We love supporting them. But so we make the ads, but then a web company helps them with their website. But in this case, we you know, we want to keep that message to be consistent. So we gave the web developer the stock photo. We gave them some copy so that if we use this image, say on Facebook or Instagram, it wouldn't have that link restriction. It would look like it all makes sense and it all goes together. And then we have restrictions on targeting. That's the last category. And the first thing I want to say here is that, you know, as an advertiser myself, as a representative of advertisers, I always want to pinpoint our buys as directly as possible at a select audience, not waste a single dollar to get right at exactly who we're targeting. And in that regard, these targeting restrictions on Meta just kill me. They kill me. But on the other hand, as someone who stands against discrimination of any kind, I completely understand where Meta is coming from, and I applaud them for the spirit behind these rules. So as you can see, I feel all the things about this, but regardless of how anyone feels, back in 2021, Meta didn't just start flagging post copy that includes mention of things like race, religion, sexual orientation, political affiliation. They also removed those from the targeting platform, so you couldn't target by those demographics at all. In addition, for certain campaigns, say for recruitment, like the example we have here for a company down in the Poconos, they restricted our ability to target by age. And we found this particularly challenging, especially in cases where the client wants to recruit people up and over a certain experience level. Another frustrating targeting restriction, particularly for our financial clients, is that you cannot limit your audience by the type of home they have. We used to only be able to send, say, a mortgage refinance ad to those who owned homes, right? They're the only ones that would have an interest in that. We cannot do that anymore. And we now also have restrictions on income targeting. And I gave that a yellow one here because you can still do it somewhat, but basically you can only target by higher income, not by lower. So for example, if you go in, you used to be able to specify targeting by household income, by dollars, and now the only options that Meta gives you is top 5%, top 10%, top 10 to 25%, and top 25 to 50%. So quite different if you're trying to target lower income individuals, perhaps to offer them services to help them or care for them in some way. You won't be able to do that on Meta anymore. And along those same lines, I can't talk about restrictions without talking about LegitScript. This is for any mental or behavioral health related organization, like a drug or an alcohol addiction treatment center. We work with several of those. Hi, Carol. Hi, Rachel, if you're on the call. If any of those mental and behavioral health organizations wanted to advertise on Facebook or Instagram, they would have to go through a certification process called LegitScript. And that just is Meta's way of making sure that they are a legit organization that is there to help this population of people that need these services. And while I respect that rule, it does cost time and it costs money to get that certification. So often we have just decided we're going to use the media dollars in different ways digitally to advertise there instead. So enough boohooing. Let's actually move to talk about solutions and workarounds now that we've wrapped our brain around what those restrictions are. So solution number one, you just do less in the meta world. If you're finding, especially those limitations I mentioned, to be counterintuitive to the specificity of your product or the way that you want to target, you may decide to put more money into other digital tactics that are less restrictive. And, Lizzie mentioned this before, we're seeing a particular rise in clients' investments, specifically in paid search or Google ads, like the example you see here. And I think one of the reasons why that has become more popular is there's been some advancements in the technology recently. So now you can add a specific phone number that separates call traffic that comes from those paid search ads from other calls. And that's a nice perk in attribution reporting. We all have to prove our ROI and justify our spend on marketing campaigns to our bosses or to ourselves, right? And certainly a document like that says, hey, that call wouldn't have come without that paid search ad driving it. That could be pretty powerful. Another thing I'm liking lately about paid search is that it is more dynamic and specific to the types of phrases that people are actually typing in now. So for instance, if I type in, best cardio doctors near me, and the ad that shows up isn't just a general, regionally, it would say UHS hospitals or Lourdes Hospital. If it actually said Lourdes Cardiology or UHS Cardiology and gave me lists of doctors' names that I could click on to do more research, that is much more likely to get more traffic, right? So that dynamic nature makes it more effective. And then, of course, we're also seeing more and more dollars be shifted away from social networks and into digital display. I just threw a few examples of display ads we've done over the years for our clients. And it's especially since they can now be paired with campaign elements like creative or site retargeting. And that's if it's specifically for those who receive your display ad and then are served that display ad more frequently if you have visited the site or if you have seen an ad before, so it's building that frequency. Or the campaign element of geofencing, which delivers ads only to those who were at a certain location recently. We found those to be very effective. Solution number two, say you want to stay in Meta, you don't want to go outside of it. Is a way you can actually do that within Meta. So you want to create a lookalike list. And if I ever have an opportunity to insert a silly corgi photo into my life, I make sure to take it. So let's pretend that the corgi with the red hat on the left is your contact information list of, say, your prospects, your customers, if you're in the nonprofit space, your donors, your clients, whatever your context is, whoever you want to talk to. You can submit that to Facebook and ask them to deliver Facebook ads to other audiences like them, to say the corgi with the blue hat. Even just an email list will work here. Facebook has that information, of course, because we use our email addresses to initiate our Facebook accounts, don't we? Now, before going down this road, just a couple of things I want to flag as potential downsides to it. You want to make sure before you do anything like this, you check your privacy policy that you've put out there. We, of course, want to stay within what we promised we would and would not do with email addresses. And another downside is that you have to have enough volume up over several thousand contacts on the list you provide to make this worth doing. So you want to consider that before going down this road. And if you say, look, I don't have a whole list of contact information and email addresses, another way to create a lookalike list within Meta is to use those pixels that Lizzie was talking about, putting that on the backside of your site, and you just let it run for a while. And what happens is that pixel gathers up information on the type of people who visit your site, say their other online behavior, their interests, their shopping habits, and it delivers that list to Facebook so that you can put Facebook ads out to corgis or people like your site visitors. Now, the downside of doing it that way is it takes a while for that pixel to generate enough data to make it worth doing. And when you think about it, there's a lot of different people that may be visiting your site. Could be employees, could be members, could be repeat customers that you don't want to spend money to try to attract. You want to attract people who are a little newer in the process. So you just want to weigh that out, that there might be some waste with this tactic, but still pretty cool technology. Another solution or workaround, and this is one of my favorites, I'm liking this more and more, is targeting by interest. So what do I mean by that? Food and drink, fitness, sports, travel. These are all things you can target by now, and it can be a nice workaround to the targeting restrictions I mentioned earlier. So for instance, you may not be able to choose a specific age for a recruitment ad, but you could choose parenting as an interest, which gets you in a certain age range just by its nature, right? Or you may not be able to choose homeowner as a demo point anymore, but you could choose home improvement and gardening as an interest, and for the most part, you get the same people. So as we transition to kind of the bigger picture here, we realize restrictions like these within Meta are just one part of an overall shift we're seeing in the digital marketing landscape. And I just want to take a few more minutes to talk about that. So what do we think this landscape is shifting to? In a nutshell, we predict that social and digital spaces will continue more and more toward privacy protection of online viewers. We say that for a few reasons. First, the statistics predominantly show that media trust is the lowest it's ever been. I was just reading a survey the other day by an organization called Marketing Evolution, and they said 97% of consumers in the US reported they were somewhat or very concerned about protecting their personal data on digital devices. And we're also seeing major players in the digital space echo that same seed of doubt being planted, right? So Apple, for instance, it just made a significant change in 2021, limiting tracking on iPhones, much to the big tech firms' chagrin, right? Firefox now blocks tracking cookies by default. So you use Firefox, no one sees your online behavior, right? And there's a lot of people that are gravitating toward those. We're also seeing more people gravitate toward DuckDuckGo. If you've seen their commercials, they're all about touting increased privacy for their users. And you may remember seeing this commercial showing the Google as the creepy guy looking over your shoulder. So the narrative is certainly going that way. And we think the legislation is not going to be far behind. Some group of lawmakers somewhere is going to start saying, wait a second, you're doing what? No, you can't do that. And we've already seen that happen in the UK, right? If you've stumbled across a UK website lately, you're going to see a message like this pop up that asks you if you'd like to opt in to the site's cookies function, where it used to be that cookies were taken. You could have chosen to opt out of it, but only if you knew where to find that setting, and nobody was really taking the time to do that. So the UK has already gone that way. So again, instead of pitching a fit about how this shift may challenge us as marketers, we want to anticipate what's next. Wayne Gretzky, the Canadian hockey great, said, "I skate to where the puck is going to be, not where it has been." And certainly relate to that. And I want to skate there together with you. So one solution to continue digitally advertising effectively, but doing so without pushing into people's personal data as much, is content or contextual targeting. And my friend Lizzie knows more about that than I do, so I'm just going to turn it back to her for a minute on this one.
Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, content targeting is great. That's essentially where you choose types of content that are relevant to your ad message, and target your ads to appear on the sites that feature that content. So for example, if you have an ad promoting a new primary care physician, maybe you target that to children's health. And so any websites, blogs, news articles about children's health, your ad could appear alongside that. That both helps you reach your target audience that is, probably a parent or someone who makes household decisions as far as healthcare, and also complements the message in your ad. And that example I gave is just one, but you could use that in so many different settings. And they have options now too for how you target the content, where you can be as broad as children's health, and you could be as specific as looking at content that has keywords in it that specifically relate to your message. Maybe it's childhood vaccinations, and you only want to be on content that's specifically about that. So you can be as broad or specific as you want, and it's really going to, like I said, complement your ad and make it feel less ad-like, right? Like it's part of the content almost when it's really well matched. So I think it's a great solution.
Thanks, Lizzie. All right, another major solution is generating more and more channels for first-party data collection. And I got to tell you, this is all I'm hearing about at the last few conferences I've gone to for marketers, for marketing agencies. As an agency owner, I'm told this strategy development of first-party data collection is what clients will need from groups like Rieger for 2025, 2030, 2040, but they don't realize the value of it now, but they will later. And it's kind of crazy to think about. So before I go any further with this, I just want to do a quick like rundown of the definitions of what I mean by first-party data and the different levels of data. So first-party data is data collected about your audience and then taken directly from their interaction with your website, your app, your social media pages. So in my little example here, we have our cartoon, Jamie Jacobs, and she gives her email address to, let's say, LL Bean. I'm going to buy a flannel for my husband for Christmas. And the data LL Bean has on Jamie Jacobs now is high value with minimal privacy issues because I gave it willingly. Second party data is similar to first party data, but it comes from a source other than your audience. So it's collected by another company and then sold or shared. So for example, we work with nonprofit clients all the time to purchase physical address lists, right? So that's second party data. So in my example here, it would be Jamie Jacobs buys an LL Bean flannel, and then, and I'm just picking on LL Bean randomly. I don't know if they sell my data, but then all of a sudden I get an Eddie Bauer catalog in the mail because that data has been shared and Eddie Bauer bought it. That's second party data. Third party data, on the other hand, is information collected from a variety of external sources by a company with no direct relation to the user. So that's everything that's collected from your online behavior and shopping history. So in this example, it would be Jamie Jacobs is online shopping for flannels, not even buying them, just shopping for them. And all of a sudden I go to Facebook and I see digital display ads from every flannel company under the sun trying to get me to buy. This is the data that may not be available to us forever. And it's also why first-party data collection is more important now than ever. So how do we do that well? How do we get out and skate where the puck is going? When it comes to collecting first-party data, we all know the key issue is persuading customers, clients, donors to feel comfortable with our brand, to trust our organization, and to be incentivized, and ideally all three, right? In order for us to give even just the barest bit of contact information. So there's a few ways to do that. Again, you may need to get a little creative though. For-profit companies, offer some discounts, 15% off if someone provides even just a first name and an email address on, say, the first time they get your product or your service. Newsletters are great. Ask people to sign up for those. This works especially well for nonprofits. I know I will always give my email address to a charity that I attended an event for or I gave, because I want to see where my money is going and hear those stories of how my money helped support either the ministry or the programs of that charity. We're also seeing more and more first-party data collection through gated content, and that's usually a prompted form fill that pops up on a site, and it is to get either a name or an email address so that you can download or get permission to download that higher value document. So maybe it's a white paper or an ebook or a catalog. And this works especially well for B2B clients who have that kind of high value content that they want to just put a little bit behind the scenes. Another tip for nonprofit clients here, ask for more data when people donate and they have to fill in their little forms. So in addition to email addresses, we are seeing a lot more of not just phone numbers, but mobile phone numbers, making people indicate that it's mobile, and that allows you to text them later. And maybe bonus, if you say, indicate if texting is a preference for future communications. All of that data is just golden. And then lastly, ask for more surveys, polls, reviews. People love giving their opinion. I'm one of them. And often they will give their name and their email address to do so. So what if I am wrong about these predictions and privacy protection is not going to become an issue and we'll have third-party data access forever? I would argue it is still a net gain to do these first-party data collection strategies. And I say that because you can better engage with people, you can better customize your materials from that data, and you can help your audience feel like they're a part of your brand story because they gave you permission to invite them into it. So with that, a big thank you for inviting us and my fellow speakers today into your lunch hour. Really appreciate your attendance and sticking with us to the end. And I know Robin wants to hop back on here and lead us through some Q&A. So thanks again.
Great. Thank you so much. That was great. Just some really great information there. So many questions, and I do have some questions here. So let's get to a few that we've got. First, I think this was from Lizzie's portion of the presentation. Someone wants to know, what is a good number of post-click or view-through conversions to have?
This is a good one. This is a common question for any kind of digital metric, right? Like, how do I compare to everybody else, or what's the benchmark? Digital marketing is so complex in terms of where the ads appear, what devices are they on, who's your target audience, what's the message in the ad, what's the landing page you take them to. You really can't find an apples to apples comparison just about anywhere. So there's no set number of conversions you want to look for in these view throughs or post clicks. You just want to see if you're getting some, right? If you're getting none, there's probably a problem with your campaign. You want to look at your targeting or look at your message, make sure it's really appealing to people the way you want it to. But certainly if you're getting some and watching the trends of them over time, that's all just helpful insights to, is it time to refresh my campaign, or do I need to tweak something here or there? It's really an optimization tool, as well as just a way to see that overall impact, like I was explaining.
Great.
So sorry, no straight answer on that, Robin.
Follow up to that, it looks like, can they just track the view through or click through conversions through GA?
Yeah, no, I touched on that. And you can't, because those folks come into your site any which way, right? We just want to know, did they see your display ad, and that's why they came to your site. And that's what we're able to tie in with the pixels, something Google Analytics can't monitor for you, because it has to be connected to the platform that's delivering the ads.
Okay, great, good. And then, keeping on the GA train, so how do people know, this would be for you, Kate, how do they know what version of Google Analytics I am running? That was the question. So,
okay. So when you log into the Google Analytics platform, in the top left-hand corner, it'll tell you up there. So if you are on Universal Analytics, it'll say UA and then have a dash and a long number after it. If you are running both of them, as you should be, it will say like your company name, for example, like it'll say Rieger-GA4. And if you have both of those properties, then you're doing great. But if you only have UA with the number after it, you should really get onto the GA4, just to, remind you.
And is GA4 free? That was another question.
Oh, yes. GA4 is still free. There is a paid version with Google 360, and that is also converting to the GA4 capabilities, and that will be paid. But if you are on Google 360, you have more time than those of you who are on the free version.
Okay, got it. Great. And then talking about this one, looks like this is talking about what Jamie was just speaking about. In light of privacy protection increases, do you think all marketers are already starting to again prioritize first-party data collection?
Good question. I'm seeing a lot of people do a lot of the first-party collection strategies I talk about. I do not see them prioritizing it. And I think that's because we've all gotten a little spoiled and used to these third party, just target people who are searching the internet for this product or this service. And I think that's because people are not prioritizing first party data. If you are someone who does in the next, say, 5 years, at the end of that time, if the privacy laws change, you're going to be having that competitive advantage over your competitors if you've done the work to get that list that is yours that you can continue to market to.
Okay, that's great. So we are close to the end of our time. We just want to thank everyone so much. We did have some additional questions that if we're not able to get to them, we will send out the answers to those along with the information. You're going to watch your email. You'll get a link to the presentation and also the webinar recording as well. The Rieger marketing team is really here to help you. And, that's why Rieger did this webinar. We hope that if you have any questions about anything that you've heard today, that you'll reach out to Katie, whose email is right there and phone number is right there on the screen. Or if you feel that you would like a consultation with one of the team, please, reach out to them. So on behalf of the entire Rieger Marketing Communications team and Advanced Media New York, we'd like to thank you so much for taking the time today to spend with us to learn more about the metrics that actually do matter in your digital advertising. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.